Hey everybody, it's Kyle. I am coming to you live, not from my car. It's a Christmas miracle. But I'm coming to you from my living room. Everybody has things going on tonight, so I'm just kind of here after running and dropping people different places. My daughter has started the higher level swim team, so she's gone an hour and a half per night, Monday through Thursday. And then maybe even a little bit on Friday and Saturday. We'll have to see how that goes. And then my son's at Boy Scouts. So that's why I am able to do this from home. A little quieter environment this time. Okay, so what's bugging me? Well, I've kind of talked about this before, but not really. My wife and I watched on HBO Max, there's a documentary on there about Tina Turner. I know we all know about Tina Turner and how Ike Turner, her former husband, was abusive and all that stuff. But this documentary is absolutely outstanding, and I highly recommend you watch it if you get a chance. But it's just called Tina. And it's just really well done, really well made, remarkable story, of course, what happened with her and everything, and just how she kind of overcame everything to get to where she had this kind of rebirth in the 80s, in the early 80s. Check it out if you get a chance. But what I wanted to talk about ties in a little bit with that. About, I keep saying, I'm sorry. About maybe 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, something like that, my daughter and I were home and everybody was off doing other things, and we were going to watch something together. And so we talked about different things, and we were looking through, searching, on different streaming platforms. And we came across I Survived. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but I think it was on Discovery Channel originally, or A&E, one of those. I don't remember. But long story short, what it is each episode has 3 interviews with 3 different people who survived something, very tragic. So long story short, we're looking through all these, and she finally picks one, and we start watching it, and I've seen all of them. So I'd seen this one. And the very first story in it was a story where a woman was home in the morning, and her husband had left for work. She was in the shower, and she had, I believe, a 3-year-old child or something like that, a younger child, who was in the other room watching TV. And it was a home invasion. This guy came in her house and just kind of immediately went to where the shower was. I don't even think he knew that the kid was there, but he knew that she had gotten out of the shower, was getting out of the shower. And long story short, raped her and tortured her. And it was horrifying. And I paused it, and I looked at my daughter and I said, yeah, now that I think about it, almost every single episode of the show has a story like this. And so it's going to get pretty rough. I just want to let you know. And she responded to me and said, yeah, I know that, because I noticed every single one when we went through them had something like that, had a woman that had been attacked. And I just looked at her and I said, I'm sorry. And she goes, for what? And I said, well, I'm just sorry that it's understood that men do this sort of thing to women, and that men rule over and dominate women. And she said, well, that's not your fault, Dad. And I said, I know, but I'm just sorry that men do things like that. So, what I'm getting at is this. Between that situation and then later watching Tina and the horrible things that Ike did to Tina Turner, I'm done with it, man. And I haven't always been the best guy myself. I definitely have done things in my past. I've never done anything like Ike and Tina Turner, and I've never done a home invasion and raped someone or something like that. But I haven't always been the nicest guy. And for that, I'm sorry. You know, when the Me Too movement was going on and the hashtag Me Too was going everywhere, I remember I think it was on social media, but I'm pretty sure it was on Facebook. But I remember just coming straight out and saying, you know, I'm sorry, because I know that there were situations where, you know, maybe I was with someone and we both had been drinking, or even maybe she drank more than me, or I don't know. And things happened, but neither one of us really remembered the next day. And for that, I'm sorry. It's interesting because when you have a daughter, it kind of puts those things in perspective for you as a man. And it kind of helps you understand that a lot of stuff that you've been taught your whole entire life, as far as how to behave and everything, is just straight up nonsense and bullshit. And that it's not cool to treat anyone that way. And that doesn't just go for misogyny or sexism or whatever towards women. That goes for racism, being against other people's religions, all that stuff, man. It's just not right. And I, for one, don't want to be a part of any of it anymore. And I do my best because I can't make up for anything that I've done in my past, really, except to say I'm sorry. But what I can do is this, and this is what I would challenge every other guy out there who has kids to do. That is to raise your kids, right? Raise your kids unlike, not that, I mean, my mom did a great job as far as she did everything she could to give me opportunities in my life. And my dad, I would hope, would have done the same thing if he would have made it longer. And I know my grandparents tried hard to help raise me and all that stuff too, but there was a lot of stuff going around when I was a kid. And I remember seeing and hearing things that were racist and sexist and chauvinist and, you know, anti-gay. I mean, hell, we all said, well, that's gay. Don't be so gay, queer, and stuff like that when I was younger. And that's not cool, man. It's not cool at all. And it shouldn't be acceptable. And it's not now, but really it never should have been. And so raise your kids different than that stuff. Raise your kids different than how you grew up. You know, one thing I hear a lot of is people saying, well, oh, you're spoiling that kid, or boy, they're going to have everything so easy. And, you know, I never had it that easy, or you never had it that easy. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of the point, really, isn't it? To afford your offspring more opportunities than you had. But I had a lot of opportunities, especially for a guy with a single mom. You know, I didn't have to deal with a lot of shit that I know 51% of my classmates had to deal with, which was sexism and chauvinism. And then an even smaller percentage of my classmates had to deal with racism, whether it be anti-Black or anti-Asian, you know, anti-Indian, Indian American, I mean, not American Indian. So raise your kids better than that. That's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on raising my kids so that they're better people than when they grow up. I want it to be automatic. I remember taking my son and my daughter to a baseball game once, and they were doing the whole deal where they talked about the Kansas City Monarchs, and they talked about, I think they were wearing uniforms that day. And I remember my son going, "So what is it, Dad, that they're wearing these uniforms for?" And I go, "Oh, to celebrate the history of the Negro Leagues." And he was like, "The what?" and I told him, "Yeah, there was a time when they wouldn't let black baseball players play on teams with white baseball players, and not just baseball. There's basketball and football or anything, really. They wouldn't even let black people drink from the same water fountains as white people." And he just looked at me like I was out of my mind. And that's one of my proudest moments as a parent, because I understood how foreign it was to him. And I thought, damn, we're doing this right, because that's how I want him to think about it, because it is ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. So that's what's bugging me. That's what I wanted to talk about as far as all that goes. And don't mean to be a bummer or anything, but I just kind of wanted to discuss that and how I kind of came across those feelings and everything, and the embarrassment almost of explaining to my daughter, the evil that men do. So I'm going to take a break real quick. I know it's a little more somber opening the episode. I'm sorry, guys. But I am talking about what's bugging me, so, But I'll be back in just a moment. We'll talk a little bit about some things that I'm into. I'm just going to throw it over to Kyle real quick. Hey, Kyle. Okay, and we're back. All right, some things that I'm into right now. Well, I told you about watching things. So we watched that Tina Turner documentary, and I suggest you watch it as soon as you can. It was absolutely excellent. We did watch Godzilla versus Kong last week. A lot of people did. And, I mean, it was okay. I think the thing is this with those movies is you kind of have to check your brain at the door, because, it's not going to be what you really think it's going to be. And it has to be really crazy and far-fetched to be entertaining. So you got to be ready for that. So my advice to you on those types of movies is, you know what you're getting into, dude. You're not watching Godzilla versus Kong for the art of it. Even though I will say, that's my pug Dolly. Sorry if you hear some snorting there. She sounds like a little pig sometimes. But even if, there were some beautiful shots and some excellent cinematography and the effects were pretty amazing, it's still a dumb monster movie. And I think if you go into it expecting something else, you're going to be let down. So keep that in mind if you go to watch that film. I mean, I had fun watching it, and my family did too. But yeah, it's not a great movie at all. So beware of that. Let's see, what else have we watched recently? Boy, I mean, my wife and I have just been watching the heck out of Kath and Kim. And we've even gone and rewatched some of our most favorite scenes and just laughed our heads off. That show, it's pretty great. It's been a good source of enjoyment for her and I. We've definitely had some great bonding moments watching that crazy show. Let's see, what else? I started watching that White Boy documentary that's on Netflix today too. Yeah, about White Boy Rick. I don't know if you've ever heard about that. I'm not being racist saying that. That was his nickname. But it was a kid in Detroit in the 80s who ended up getting multiple life in prison sentences or whatever, and still is in prison now to this day for drug stuff. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. There's a good podcast on it too. I don't know if you've seen that, but or listened to that, but there's a really good podcast about it as well, if you ever get a chance. And then I started watching the QAnon documentary that's on HBO Max. And now Mikey watched that, and he said that he came away from it with a different understanding of QAnon. And, it wasn't all just these people were crazy wackos, which I've watched like the first episode and a half. And I got to be honest, I still feel like these people are crazy wackos. Actually, what it feels like more to me now is these people are being manipulated into believing crazy wacko stuff by people who know how to manipulate people. That's what it feels like to me now. But it's really well made. It's a really well made show. And I'm curious to watch the rest of it and kind of see where that goes. But in the meantime, it's pretty crazy. So I'll keep watching, Mikey, I promise. Let's see. And then what am I listening to? Well, I did get that last Sturgill Simpson album in, the Cut in the Grass Volume 2. Got that in, and it's really great. I like that one a little bit more. It's definitely very, very country, just like the first Cut in the Grass record is. But I kind of like this one. I like the songs on this one better, personally. Some of them are kind of remakes or covers of his very own songs, just done in a bluegrass style. But I dig it. It's different. I also picked up Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." We listened to that a little bit. Yesterday was Easter, and we listened to that a little bit. And it's just a timeless classic. That album is. Not much more to be said about it. But that's a bit it for music. Nothing really new or different there. Let's see, reading. I am reading the American Dirt book that I talked about before. Not very much further on that book. I need to continue reading it, but I'll get back to you guys on that one. And then I have the 5th issue of Crossover, Locked and Loaded, to read as well. Been a great comic so far. I'm excited to see where things go from here. And then the next issue of the High Republic comic, the Star Wars High Republic comic, comes out this week as well. So that'll be interesting to read. That's about it. I mean, not much else really as far as reading goes. That's about it, guys. I've been watching a lot of baseball. Keith Beard and I have been talking, chatting back and forth. The Royals are off to a fantastic start. Their first 2 games were absolutely incredible. I mean, in their first 2 games of the year, they scored 25 runs combined. That's nuts. They did not sweep the first series against Texas. They ended up losing that one yesterday. But then they had a game today against Cleveland, and they beat Cleveland in the first game of that series. So Royals are off to a great start. I think they're going to be better than people give them credit for. I don't think they're going to be like World Series bound, but I think they're pretty good, man. And I think they're going to be better than people think they're going to be. So check them out if you get a chance. I know Keith Beard and I are watching them fervently. So that's about it, guys. Not much else going on. I will get back to you guys next week with a new episode. Like I said, I'm still got some plans, some interesting things that are going to happen for the 100th episode, which shouldn't be too far away. So stay tuned to hear more about that. Got one special guest lined up, trying to line up a few others, but we'll make it interesting no matter what. So hang in there with me. I appreciate you guys listening. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to hit the link there on the main page of this podcast, and that will allow you to send me comments or whatever. If you have questions or anything like that, I'm more than happy to answer them and stuff like that. So that's all I got. I will catch you guys later. And I know. Get off my lawn.